Welcome to DMV Spotlight on ESPN 630, the sports capital, where we shine a light on the challenges facing the district, Maryland, and Virginia, and we examine possible solutions with the people and organizations who are working on those challenges. I'm Barbara Britt, and I am delighted to welcome this morning from Christmas in April of Prince George's County board member Melbourne Jenkins. We call him Mel.
Mel.
Just Mel. Melbourne was his dad and his granddad, and in his day job, Mr. Jenkins works for Southern Management, but we have heard from the best authority that his heart is devoted to the work that he does on the board at Christmas in April of Prince George's County, and Mel Jenkins plays a key role in fundraising there. So I want to thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having us out.
On DMV Spotlight on ESPN 630, the sports capital. So first of all, for folks who are not familiar with Christmas in April, Prince George's County, and what they do and why they do it, let's start there.
Okay, Christmas in April is a nonprofit organization in Prince George's County that we facilitate the health and care and rebuilding of homes and repairs of homes of those that are elderly, possibly physically challenged, or may have children that have handicaps. Low-income folks are our primary focus.
So really it's to help people who already live in the county.
Yes, ma'am.
Stay in their homes, help the homes stay in good shape, which helps all the community, the neighborhood. You know, you want to live on a street where everyone's taking care of their house. It can be challenging. It's challenging when you have everything, quote, you need. Very challenging for people who don't have the resources, don't have the health, don't have the help that they need, and that's really so critical for Prince George's County.
It certainly is, and that's where we fit in. Once the entire process starts, and I'm sure we'll go through that, you find situations of homeowners living in the county where they cannot afford to make essential repairs to their homes. From minimal things such as a smoke detector to critical things like ramps, to access, stopped up sinks, poor utilities, poor lighting. It's a myriad of challenges.
So I know that Christmas in April usually happens on one day in April, but there's a whole lot of work that goes leading into it. So do take us through that process. Let's say you're listening today and say, wow, that could be me or my neighbor or my mom or someone who lives in their home, they own their home, but they just can't afford to do what needs to be done. They don't have their children nearby, or they don't have help nearby. So how would they begin that process?
Well, it begins, someone could actually apply today. In the county, it goes through a process that somewhere around September, we are beginning to close out that process for that year. And then it goes to inspectors to do a general inspectors. Now, these are all volunteers that come out.
So we're not talking county inspectors. Nobody's getting in trouble.
No, ma'am.
We're just doing an assessment of what the home might need.
But I will tell you, sometimes the county will refer us someone that may need not what the county can supply, but just minimum activities there to help them to live a better and safer environment. So that process starts, and there's a general inspection. Then those applications come back into the office. Once the office has it, they divide it up by the regions of the county. So you may have Hyattsville and College Park and Brentwood and Bowie, Prince George, Fort Washington, Oxonell. Then those folks begin to look at that, and there's a rating scale that we look to determine, is it a light house, a medium house, or a heavy house that requires really a very experienced group and possibly trades. Once that happens, then we are starting to look the process of house captains.
So let me back up for a second, just for people who are unfamiliar with some of that lingo. When you say the trades, you mean skilled labor. You mean men and women who know how to do plumbing. They may know how to do electric. They may be carpenters who are very skilled, or roof repairs. When we say light, you mean like people like me who maybe can paint, sort of.
Absolutely. That's such an essential part, because no matter what, you try to do the most that you can in a home. And that may be one homeowner, they may need something that we're like, wow, you need this much work done, but they want to get a room painted where they live primarily as their focus. But we find shortages. We find leaky faucets, leaking commodes, tubs that don't work. So with those, you have to have skilled trades or folks that come from an industry that are like-minded and have that work ethic and work knowledge to be able to go in and perform that work.
And Mel, I can remember years ago, because I've been familiar with Prince George's County Christmas in April for many years, and I can remember this one woman, and all she wanted was a ramp. She had not been out of her house, Mel, in years.
I see it, yes.
And I'm sure that you see that because the folks came, they spent the day building this woman's ramp, and she was able to leave her home for the first time. I mean, that is astounding. We're talking about the Washington, D.C. area, and the year is 2019, so we just need to pay attention to that.
Absolutely we do, because you're right. Many folks only access right in their home. They can't get out to get, even to, if they can get the county that may have a shuttle to their doctor, for them to come in and out of their home and up and down steps, and they may have a wheelchair in the home, but they don't have the ability to get up and down the stairs. It's very critical, this work that Christmas in April is doing.
So I had interrupted you with this process that people fill out the forms, you rate them, you decide, does this house need a lot of work? It's a heavy house in the terminology, or a light house, or something in between, and then you begin to gather this help. Are all of these people volunteers?
They're all volunteers. This is 100% volunteer organization through our donation, what fundraising we have. It's all volunteer.
And even I mean, over the years, it seems like this has touched so many of the communities in Prince George's County with people who live and work in Prince George's County, and that's where you'll find them.
In this 30 years, 2,700 homes have been done at a value of about $45 million, repairs to these folks' homes.
That is absolutely incredible. Are there some story? That was the story that stuck with me, but have there been some stories that have stuck with you?
I have honestly seen homes where folks are living in that they have 2x4s that are holding up a roof. Where it is collapsing inside. We have found homes that have, because of plumbing concerns, their basement is full of sewage. They do not have the money, the economic ability, and some of them may have challenge with even understanding what is that challenge and how to seek help for it. So I've seen some pretty bad homes.
Difficult situations.
Yes, very difficult and heart-wrenching.
And Mel, I need to ask you too, because there are sometimes I have noticed over the years, there is some fear on the part of the homeowner to speak up and ask for help, because this is the place where they live. This is where they feel safe. This is where they spend their time. And the last thing they want is to bring attention to themselves and say, well, my house may not be safe, and then someone would make me move. Or do you understand what I'm saying?
That is so absolutely true, because for a variety of reasons, those that you mentioned, and also their pride comes into it. They may not have immediate family around to help them. They don't want to work. People in the county, like all seniors, are independent, and they want that independent living. They want to stay in their house. So the fear comes in, oh my gosh, I'm getting a spark over here in a receptacle. I better not tell anyone because they're going to condemn my house. Their mind goes from where it's just safe to all sorts of challenges that they may face. So you're right.
So really, but what I want to share here is that this is really to keep people, the heart of Christmas in April in Prince George's County is to keep people in their homes.
That's exactly the mission, is to keep someone in their home, safety first, and to provide them. First, we ask the homeowner, what would be your wish? What would you want us to do? And you get them to come back, as we had talked earlier. They want a room painted. They'd like a new floor in their kitchen, but they've got a leak in the basement. They have no bathroom facilities. I've seen people using porta potties inside their home because they do not have a working commode.
And so that's the kind of thing that can be addressed
Yes, ma'am.
with all of these volunteers. So let's shift over. Obviously, this costs a lot of money.
It does.
You do have volunteers, and you even have our skilled trades. And then you also get donations. I know that you sometimes get building donations. How does that work?
Well, we do. Once we get to that process of where there's an inspection on the home, there becomes a materials list. And that's where that entire executive team begins to reach out to the amazing folks within the county. So many business, individuals, organizations that contribute and make donations for materials and supply it. And then the Heart of Gold volunteers that give so much to this. And then we do have some amazing fundraisers that lead into this for us to make some money to be able to spend, because by the funds we make is how many homes we can contribute to.
And I know one of the things that has always been really difficult in Prince George's County Christmas in April is when you have to say, that's it, there's no more, I can't take this house this year. And I know that breaks your heart.
It does break our heart. We try to take the most challenging houses, but we know that it's going to be limited to extent by what we are able to bring in from the donations, from our fundraisers. So it's limited by that.
So speaking of fundraisers, by the way, I'm speaking this morning with Mr. Melbourne Jenkins, and he's joining me this morning on DMV Spotlight on ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. And of course, you can check us out online at ESPN630DC.com. And we're talking about Prince George's County Christmas in April. So I know one of your biggest fundraisers, not your only one, but one of your biggest fundraisers is the golf tournament. And that is coming up in September. Tell us about that.
Can you imagine? Joint Base Andrews Golf Tournament. If you've never been there, you've got to come out and enjoy that amazing, the facility itself, besides being on Andrews Air Force Base, it's just a perk of its own.
It's not open to, let's just be clear. Right. This is not open to the public.
It's
you cannot call up and be there with your foursome on a Saturday morning. You have got to take advantage of this golf tournament so you can get yourself on there.
This is probably one of the few opportunities that you will get to go on it, and there's nothing to see jets taking off or the presidential plane landing while you're there. I attempt to play golf. I'm not very good, but I have a blast the entire day, and they really do a sensational job for us.
That is fantastic. So, and I'm glad you brought that up, Mel, because there are people who are listening to say, that sounds like I would just love to be there, even though I don't even know what a handicap is. But you don't have to be a great golfer.
No. We play best to the pin, best to the hole. Whoever gets it closest, and sometimes we end up maybe 12 times, but we'll get there eventually. And we just have a good time and enjoy a hot dog on the way. And
Mr. Mulligan is your friend.
Oh, it is my friend.
I understand. So this golf tournament is on September 23rd. And tell us how it all comes together.
Well, it comes together. There are some amazing companies that first contributed this, besides the county. Angela also Brooks, the county executive that really helps to support this. Joint Base Andrews. You've got companies like Cap Mona from Mona Electric, the Denison Organization, Landscaping, Timberlake Homes. I mean, I could go on. Kelly Electric. It goes on and on. That everyone comes together to organize this golf tournament for that one day. It's our largest fundraiser. Without it, we would not have the success that we have.
So people who are listening saying, wow, I still have time to sign up. Do you have to put together a foursome, and what would the cost be if you want to help?
It is. So there's various sponsorships. So you can start at the highest sponsorship, which would be the platinum sponsorship for $5,000, name on the T-shirts, recognition in all the documents that we have. And then it drops down $2,500, $1,000. So you could get a group of two people out for a day that's going to be all tax. You're able to write it off on taxes. So we hope the organizations come out there, or you volunteer and come in and help us during the tournament, or if you're not a golfer, make a donation, contribute maybe a dinner. We have a silent auction. The restaurants can be involved in that. Those go the best. Anytime there's a dinner, a brunch, we have sports memorabilia that no one in this county will ever see unless you're there at the Christmas and April golf tournament to be able to bid on that. So there's an amazing hundreds of items in the silent auction as well.
And I've heard that when you're there for the day, people eat pretty well.
They eat well. Some delicious fried chicken. Yes, there is beer on the course and the best hot dogs, and they have it right there for you. There's snacks in the morning, all kind of pastries, the really delicious coffee, and they need them at that time. When you're starting the silent auction at 7:30, the shotgun time is 9 o'clock. We're off in our carts on the road, but the food is wonderful. And as I said, Joint Base Andrews really puts it out for us, and we're full by the time we leave at the end of the day.
And you mentioned what a great opportunity if you're a business in the area listening, even if you're not in Prince George's County, if you're in one of the other businesses who does business in the area, what a great idea to get some people together, 2 or 4 together, and or to provide something for your clients.
It is. We have people that come from Virginia, that come from Baltimore. The company that I work for, Southern Management, we supply anywhere from 150 to 200, and they're from all over the portfolio, from Woodbridge to Baltimore. And many of those businesses in there, the managers or the house captain that's assigned to that area, ask for contributions and get these contributions from these organizations. So, Barbara, you're absolutely right on point. We will. Yes, I'm putting out begging. Just come on out, give us a donation. It doesn't matter if you're in Annapolis or Woodbridge, we'll take it.
That sounds awesome. And I also want to give a little shout out to an ESPN analyst who you have as your MC this year.
Yes, Jay Walker.
Jay Walker, who is going to golf. He's a golfer as well.
He's a golfer, and he's always there.
I think he was a football guy, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a big man.
Anyway, he's a true big man to come out and help. Tell us about some of the reasons that the volunteers come out.
It's that feeling that you get at the end of, while it's going on, of course, everyone is focused on the day of the event, Christmas and April Day. But when you see that smile on the homeowner's face and you hear, or they have a child, and many times that we have it discussed, is it may be a grandparent that is caring for a child that has very low income and they're dependent upon a son or a daughter to help take care of this. And you see often the grandparent is taking care of a child that has physical disabilities or challenges, and so there's very little income for them to be able to take care of their own home, and all of a sudden things come together. The day is ending, you're having lunch or breakfast, and they cook a pie or make some cookies, and you realize how blessed we are in our own lives to see what has happened out there. So for me, it's heartwarming, and I come back every year because of it.
How did you get started in the beginning?
Actually, it started in our company, and they sponsored the golf ball tournament. There used to be a ladies' golf ball team at Christmas and April. They probably should resurrect that because I heard they were pretty good. And then someone said, Mel, you would really like this. You should come in. So the second year in existence, I went in as a volunteer. The third year, I became house captain. I enjoyed it so much and have moved through now in these 30 years and do whatever it takes to support this program. Our hearts are in it, and once you get involved in it, as we talked about, Mr. Britt, I'll say, you're with Mary, you cannot say no to our executive director.
Mary Kacharski has been there from the beginning, and she is absolutely a force to be reckoned with. And so I know also from time to time you'll get a letter from some of the beneficiaries.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us about those letters. Tell us what you have read.
They are the most heartwarming, so uh, you burst with the energy when you read a simple thank you for what you've done. Because some folks, we had one that wrote in, she hasn't had dinner in her home with her children and family because she didn't have an oven. Now, those are very expensive propositions, but the county, Timberlake Homes, folks like that contribute and make these donations from our materials list, we might be able to help with that. And this lady was able to have Thanksgiving dinner and wrote to us at Thanksgiving to say thank you, thank you. Those are the inspirations that put it over the top for you.
That is amazing. And I know that over the years, Mary Kacharsky, the executive director, has had a warehouse where she's been able to keep items. So let's say you are a contractor of some kind and maybe you have an oven that you ordered for a homeowner, it got a little ding on it or wasn't the right color or they didn't like it and you can't send it back. What can you do with it?
You know exactly. Prince George's County supplies us with a warehouse. That warehouse we're able to house, if you can imagine, a box of a warehouse. And in one section, there's electrical and plumbing and roofing materials. There's carpentry supplies and lumber, trim. And then in a back area, there's 1 through 100 squares, like in a pattern of a huge crossword. And it's hundreds, and it's numbered 1 through 100. And we put the supplies as they come in that's assigned for each one of those houses. And then there is the day somewhere about 2 weeks before the actual Christmas and April day in April that the house captains come over and pick that up and begin to deliver it to the home.
And what I also hear you saying, Mel, is that people can be involved fully, or they can also just come out that day.
We need volunteers just that day, whether it's the golf tournament, the warehouse day, the supplying of the day when they're coming in. There's weeks leading up to it. It sounds like it may be on a day, but this is really an annual event that we need volunteers throughout the year that will help to unload. If that contractor has a ding stove, who's going to put it in the warehouse? We have an elevator, kind of shaky elevator, but we manage.
He's keeping it real.
We get up and down, that's it. And we start to put those supplies in place. So we're all through the year collecting donations. We like good paint. Some folks may want to give us something a little bit older, and we have to go through it and sort that out. So new materials, contractors like People Supply do make a valuable contribution. And then there's the Prince George's County Forklift. Community Forklift in Bladensburg. That is a place you should see just to go see old materials for a 50-year-old house. You may need a sink, or not 50 years, a house built in 1950. You may need a good working 1950 sink. And they have it. And they contribute and give us credit to be able to supply this. So it's a moving entity of its own that never stops.
That is amazing. So you show up the morning of, in April.
Yes, ma'am.
Your house captain gathers you all together. And then what happens?
Some begin with a breakfast. Others, possibly the homeowner, may want to have a prayer. They certainly want to greet everyone that's there. You build up the excitement. You begin to organize that team how you want them. The house captains have already made those determinations because of the skilled and those folks that may not have so skills. We always can clean windows, clean a car, wash the drapes.
Trim the bushes.
Trim the bushes. Yay. Landscaping and painting is so important because that goes, especially the exterior aesthetics, to the neighborhood improvement. Someone's not having a dilapidated yard, and we're able to take care of that in a day.
And then they work all day, and then they gather at the end of the day.
All day, it gathers back. Some folks supply lunch. Chick-fil-A does amazing things for us. A number of the restaurants. We have a number of McDonald's that supply lunch and breakfast, especially on Christmas and April, the warehouse day, when you're having 150, 200 volunteers, plus another 85 house captains and their folks and trucks. It is an incredible feat to get them in and out in a 6 to 8 hour period.
Do you make it fun, Mel?
It's fun. Everyone has fun. Yeah, you run into your challenges because someone has moved something out, but we get it done, and it is a worthwhile organization that no matter what, you can't get mad at it. You got to love it.
It's just part of life.
It's life. It's
part of life.
A challenge.
All right, so I just want to remind folks about finding out some more information. We're specifically looking at coming up the golf tournament. Do they play it rain or shine, Mel?
We play rain and shine. We have had amazing success because it has been sunshine except for 1 year last year, buddy. It rained and we were out there, and I think it was more exciting, to tell you the truth.
Is that right?
Because then everyone came back, everyone had their beer, everyone had their coffee. We came back in and the lunch was right there for us. We got in and got out. What an amazing day. And it goes to show the first the authenticity, but the drive of those golfers. That many of them that are company, such as landscaping companies, they may already work outside, so they're used to it. And then there's folks that never get that opportunity, and there's nothing like playing in the rain. It works.
It's a great excuse for why I didn't hit that ball just quite. It was the rain. It was the rain.
Exactly.
You do have other fundraisers throughout the year.
Yes, different lodge support us throughout. They'll have fundraiser, and sometimes these bands are unbelievable that come over, and it's a concert, a rock concert, a country concert inside one of the Moose Lodge or an Elks Lodge. They do that, and then we have restaurants that are near our office. We're looking for those further out in the county to get, because it's really a northern Prince George's, a southern, a central, a western, and eastern side of the county. And so we would like those restaurateurs. They come out. Topolino is one that they contribute a percentage of what they raise during the day with their lunch and their dinner, and it's supported. And there's hundreds of people that come out, fill the restaurant up. It's good for their business, good for their recognition, and then something comes back to Christmas in April to fund this.
And what I really appreciate about it is that it truly is a community effort.
It is. It is. We could not do it without the volunteers, without the county, Prince George's County, as I said, the county executive, but the fire department, the police department, Andrews Air Force Base. They take on a huge chunk of these homes. The men and women that come out of both of those professions just roll with it. They know it. They know the county. And then we have folks that are bankers that we can find a lighthouse that needs minimum work. And they're like, hey, I trim up in my house. Well, that's no different than trimming up in this yard, and a little bit of paint anyone can put on and get a disposable paintbrush and paint a room. So we take all levels of volunteering skills.
That is absolutely fantastic. So if people go on the website, can they see some of these homes?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
There's how would I say, a photographic image of beginning to end. And we like to document that. It goes to showing and how we've achieved that value, that $45 million that I was talking about. And then there's those homes that have significant enough challenges that we refer them to the county. And maybe it's oversupplying. We don't like to use the word hoarding, but there is a significant amount of that. And if we're going to paint your room, we have to get it clean and cleared out. And that becomes an emotional challenge for some folks, and the county steps in, or they can fill out some forms and maybe get a new roof, maybe have a significant foundation repair that we can't do within our limitation, and it may require a permitting process, and the county steps in and does it, and does an amazing job. Those men and women may go unrecognized, but not here on this program today. We love you and thank you for your support.
That is just tremendous to hear. And again, the whole heart is to keep the homeowners in their homes.
That's the mission. Keep them in their homes.
Safe.
Keep them safe. Safety first is what we say. And then to provide them with a helpful spirit, a new spirit to live in their own home, so that their family can be closer. They can have folks over. It's about living life, and we try to make it better for them.
And Mel, I can remember the lady years and years ago who just was so excited because she said, now when it rains, it doesn't rain in my kitchen.
That's beautiful. That's so wonderful. Can you imagine?
So I want you to go to the website. It's www.christmasinaprilpg.org. That's all one thing, christmasinaprilpg.org, and you can get more information on the golf tournament September 23rd at Joint
Base Andrews.
Joint Base Andrews, fantastic. And I want to thank my guest this morning. I've been speaking with Mel Jenkins in his day job at Southern Management, but really you can see and you can hear that his heart is devoted to Christmas in April of Prince George's County. And I want to thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much. And we love Mary, Judy, and Gail for all the work that they do. So thank you for having us on today.
Thank you. And thank you for listening to DMV Spotlight on ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. I'm Barbara Britt.